This is Terry Ager. The date today I think is January 6th. I think it's the 6th, or it might be the 7th. I'm not. I think it's the 6th. January 6th of 2016. The reason I'm recording this video right now is because I want to get this red vehicle that's in the parking lot. It's the one that it's in the middle that's closest to me. It looks like a little sports car, like a two-door coupe. It's a Chevrolet. It has that tail fin on the back of it, on top of the bumper, right there, and it has like a ribbon symbol on the back of it, right next to the Chevrolet emblem. The reason I'm getting this on video is because I have reason to believe that the owner of this vehicle is one of the sting ops that had the surrounding apartments surrounding mine back in 2008 and 2009. These people have been stalking me and following me pretty much everywhere I go. Ever since I became homeless, I've started coming to this local Fred Meyer store. This building behind me is a Fred Meyer store here on 82nd, Southeast 82nd. It's right on, it's on 82nd and Foster Road. And this is sort of like a hub area for me. Like, I generally tend to be staying and living on and or near the 82nd area, and most of the businesses that I frequent tend to be on or near 82nd. When I sleep at night, I'm usually somewhere on or near 82nd Street. And for me, this Fred Meyer store happens to be like a hub area where it's sort of like in the middle of every other place that I happen to go to. So if like I'm on my way from A to B, usually in between somewhere, I usually stop here at Fred Meyer's and I'll sit at this bench right here, because they have benches out here outside of Fred Meyer's that people can sit down at. You know, and I'll sit here and rest a little bit. So for me, this is kind of like a hub area, and I usually end up here once or twice a day, and I'm usually just kind of lounging around and, for, you know, like an hour or so. Maybe. Sometimes I'll go in there and make purchases. Sometimes I have my lunch here. Sometimes I get sandwiches here at Fred Meyer's. But anyway, this is sort of like a hub area for me, so I tend to be here every single day. Not all day long, but, you know, like I'll make a stop here once or twice a day. And the sting ops that have been stalking and harassing and framing me pretty much follow me everywhere I go. And they seem to get jobs at places that I happen to frequent. Now, I'm under the impression that vehicle right there with that blue or purple ribbon thing on the back of it, I'm under the impression that vehicle is owned by one of the sting ops that was poisoning me and framing me back in 2008, 2009, because there was a vehicle just like that with the ribbon and everything parked out in the parking lot over on near 122nd and Oak Street. I lived at an apartment building on Oak Street, near, like, I'm just like a block away from, not even a block away from 122nd. And that vehicle was parked in the parking lot where at the apartment building where I lived. in 2008 and 2009. That vehicle was there, and I was surrounded by Officer Eric Carlson and by his partners and by his buddies and by him and his buddies' girlfriends. It was in essence a sting operation, but it's a very personal sting operation because they're not actually investigating me or targeting me for crime. They themselves were the criminals and were staging and committing the crimes themselves and setting me up to get the blame. And the whole time they were using Officer Eric Carlson as a goddamn fucking photo double to set me up for fucking crimes. Well, they had control and possession of all the apartments surrounding mine. The apartment building I lived in was a small apartment building. It only had in total of like 8 apartments. I lived in one of the apartments. The apartment manager lived in another apartment. That leaves 6 apartments. Well, the Portland Police Department and the Multnomah County Sheriffs and their civilian ops used their police powers to take over the remaining 6 apartments at that building. So by sheer numbers, they had full control of that apartment building and the area surrounding it, simply out of sheer fucking numbers. Now that is one of the fucking vehicles that was parked in that parking lot at the time when Officer Eric, my wife's lover, Officer Eric Carlson, and his buddies and his partners had the surrounding apartments. I'm going to go over there and get the license plate number, and then I'm going to come back over here and sit down. Give me a minute. I'm going to get the license plate number on video. License plate number is 446 BPQ. Okay. I got the license plate number of the vehicle, but at the same time I deem that information practically worthless. What I deem relevant is the fact that I recognize the vehicle, because that's one of the vehicles that was parked at the apartment building that I lived at in 2008, 2009, when I was surrounded by Officer Eric Carlson and by his buddies and partners in law enforcement. Officer Eric Carlson was having an affair with my wife. Officer Eric Carlson and his partners were palling around with and sleeping around with my wife and her daughters and with my wife's sister. This was a very personal attack on their part. They were having fun setting me up for crimes, and they had me in a poisoned and debilitated condition. And while I'm in a poisoned and debilitated condition, the Portland Police and the Multnomah County Sheriffs, using their police powers, took over the remaining surrounding apartments, and they were using Officer Eric Carlson as a double, and they were staging shit in front of my apartment. And that's one of the vehicles right there that was parked at that apartment building. I recognize the vehicle. I recognize the ribbon on it. The ribbon's in the exact same place. It's the same vehicle, but I'm aware of the fact that the Portland Police and Multnomah County Sheriffs in sting operations, they will change their license plates. They'll swap out their license plates, and it's nothing for them to do so. Officer Eric Carlson and his partners, back in 2009, they planted a vehicle in the parking lot right after they bragged on an audio death threat that they had a big surprise for me. The big surprise was they had all the apartments surrounding mine. And the same day that they gave me this death threat where they're bragging that they got a big surprise for me, it's the same day they parked this black vehicle in the parking lot at that apartment building with the license plate C'est La Vu. SAYLVU. So it's nothing for the Portland Police and the Multnomah County Sheriffs to take bogus license plates and just slap them on vehicles, especially in sting operations or any form of a covert operation. In any form of a covert operation, it is typical for the Portland Police and the Multnomah County Sheriffs to swap out license plates. So I don't deem that to be the valid license plate for that vehicle. I deem that to be a sting operative's vehicle, and they just swap out, they just use bogus license plates so that you can't identify who the fuck they are. Now, every single day that I come here, that vehicle is parked in that same spot. So the sting op that drives that vehicle wants me to notice it. They want me to recognize it. And they deliberately park that vehicle right where it's plainly obvious for me to see it and recognize it. So they want me to notice it. They want me to notice the vehicle, and they're not really trying to hide it from me. Now, could that be the same sting op that was at Oak Street back in 2008, 2009? I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that's a sting ops vehicle. Law enforcement. It's just like a bus. It may not be the same bus driver that's driving the bus, but it's obviously a bus driver. Well, it may not be the same sting op, but obviously it is a sting op that drives that fucking vehicle. I don't care if it's the same sting op or if it's a different sting op. It doesn't fucking matter. They're still in the same sting, still targeting me as the target, and still following me every fucking where I go. I recognized the vehicle. I recognized the ribbon that they have on it, which is right next to the Chevrolet emblem on the back of that car. It's in the exact same place. I recognize it as the same car, although it might not have the same license plate. I don't know. I would have to look up my old videos on the cars that were parked in that parking lot back in 2008, 2009 to get the license plate number, to find out if it's the same license plate number as that license plate number. But even if it's not, which I don't know, I'll have to check. And since I'm in a homeless state, I'm not really in a position to verify that yet. But as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't really matter if it's the same license plate or if it's a different license plate number, because I personally know the Multnomah County Sheriffs and the Portland Police Department, they swap out license plates all the fucking time in sting operations, but they still use the same goddamn vehicles. And I recognize that fucking vehicle. I recognize it. Same goddamn sting op vehicle that was in the parking lot over there on Oak Street near 122nd back in 2008, 2009, back when I was surrounded by Officer Eric Carlson and by his fucking pedophile buddies in law enforcement, and by his whore-ass girlfriends, his poisonous whore-ass girlfriends. Those sting ops are guilty of murder. These sting ops obviously use their power of influence with corporations to get jobs at various locations. When they realized I was treating this area as a hub area and was showing up in this area every single day, well, that's when the sting ops decided they're going to have one or two sting ops getting a job here at Fred Meyer's. And of course, all fucking fascist-ass corporations in this goddamn city of Portland, Oregon, cooperates with any and all investigations and sting operations conducted by Portland police and Multnomah County fucking sheriffs. So they get jobs wherever, at places I happen to frequent. And the fucking sting op is flaunting the fact that they're here every single day now and want me to notice their damn sting op vehicle. I have that same vehicle on video in 2008, 2009, out in the parking lot outside my apartment over on Oak Street near 122nd. This is 82nd right here, people. I'm currently homeless now. I don't have an apartment, but every area I happen to frequent, these sting ops happen to maintain a constant presence. A constant fascist presence.